Hi, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Laura. Hi, hello, welcome. Welcome to the kickoff of Single Shadow Week. I'm really excited. Every day this week, every single day this week, I will be posting a video themed around single eyeshadows, and I'm really excited to kick this off today with my Pan Those Eyeshadows. First, I just want to mention that this idea for like a themed week was taken from It's Just Steps channel. I'll have her linked down in the description box below. But she does a palette week once a quarter, and I was very inspired by her, but I really want to have an excuse to reach for my single eyeshadows, so we're doing a single eyeshadow week. Tangent aside, this is the Pan Those Eyeshadows update 9. First, if you don't know, this is a project that Alexi Shostin thought of, and the way that she did the project was how I was doing the project. I took the exact way that she was doing it, and that is I randomly select a random palette, and then I hand select the shade inside of said palette. Now, I also had one shade that was with Lainey's prompt, Makeup with Lainey. I'll have everyone's channels linked down below. And Lainey had a prompt-based eyeshadow project. So she has a list of prompts, randomly select a prompt, and then pick a shade that corresponds with said prompt. Now, I'm going to change things up on my way that I am doing this project. I think I've also decided to totally take out any eyeshadow that's in a palette out of this project. And we're going to be grandfathering that idea in. So anything that we roll in here on out is going to be single shadows and single shadows only, because I want to get some use out of my single shadows, and I'm going to start another project later on this month that's going to be centered around palettes. So Pan Those Eyeshadows is going to be eyeshadows or single eyeshadows only here on out for the next couple months throughout 2023, so I can continue to do my BYOPs, which my BYOP is coming for tomorrow's video, actually, if you're curious on what's filled into this guy. Because I'm going to be restructuring this project, I'm also going to be really pushing that usage goal in this project as well, because there's going to be other projects on this channel to pan eyeshadows. So if I can hit pans in this project, incredible. However, I also have the option to roll things out at like a 15 use mark. I believe I've had that rule all year round, but I haven't been sticking to that rule because I've been a determined lady. I was not expecting this update to be as good as it is. I have a lot of looks to share in the video. I'll have them like floating around on the screen as we kind of talk about shades. But I took a lot of pictures of my makeup this month. It was a really good month for me to like document my makeup, so I'm really happy about that. I've also been trying to get better about posting my makeup of the day on Instagram. I'm going to just continue on how I typically go in these updates, and that is going from the oldest shade that's been in this project to the newest shade that's been in the project. Editing me here, I completely forgot to show you the color story that we were working with over the course of the past month. So yeah, this is it. Very it was dark. Focused a lot on that, but you'll see in the update. It's a real good update. So just stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Talk to you in a moment. The first item we have to talk about is in my Going Coconuts palette. Technically, it's from my Bare Necessities palette, but I moved it into this because I've been really enjoying my Going Coconuts palette, and I'm panning a shade in a different project in this palette. Anyway, I have been working on the shade, which is for Lainey's prompt. My prompt was a brown shimmer, and I have been working on the shade Prefix from the Bare Necessities palette. You'll be seeing the clips of it go up right now, along with the usage. I don't have the totals in front of me, unfortunately. I have my uses today, but I don't have my totals. Now, this is what Prefix is looking like today, and you definitely can see there's usage in there that's happened. There is a bit of a dip. I've used this one 7 times this month. I totally put this on the back burner. I switched my focus completely this month away from the neutrals and to some other shades that I was panning. So we'll go into that shortly, but I ended up using this 7 times in the past month. I typically like to use the oldest item that's in the project. I try to hit pan in that first. But I had a lot of like similar shades that kind of went together. So I focused on those rather than this. But I really like this shade. I really enjoy using this palette in general. I can definitely see myself hitting pan in this. It's a shade that I can wear to work and not think about it. Like just throw it on, go on my day. Next item was this guy here. This is the Sugar Drizzle Pickle palette. And I was working on the top middle shade in this palette. The shade name is Pickle Juice. I'll have some clips go up of what this palette was looking like at the introduction, or when I rolled this. I will have the clips go up of what this was looking like at the roll in of this eyeshadow. And this is what Pickle Juice is looking like today. And I really hope you can tell, but I ended up hitting pan in that eyeshadow. I was not expecting it, even though I have been diligently working on this shade over the course of the entire month. It took up until Friday, which was yesterday, and I did hit pan in this shade then. And I did tuck a little tiny bit of this just to expand the pan a little bit so it wasn't so microscopic in there. But I have it right on the very outer lower lash line. I did film this look. It's going to be Saturday's video, by the way. Speaking of purples, the next shade is another purple. It comes from my Kaleidos Makeup Lunar Lavender palette. I ended up selecting the shade Wisteria, which was a matte lavender kind of shade. I believe we rolled this in last update, and I really did not have high hopes for this shade just because there was definitely usage in it, as you can see, but there wasn't like anything sizable. And over the course of the past month, I ended up using Wisteria 13 times. That wonderful, beautiful, incredible pan. I know my friend Mary commented on my last video saying she usually hits pan in Kaleidos mattes in about 15 uses. Girl, you are not wrong. 13 uses to hit pan. I did have prior usage to that, but I did have to use a decent amount of that shade anytime I did use it to really build up the impact of it. I have it on today on my blending out this blue. These two shades went really well together, and that kind of ties us along to the next shade, which is actually a single from my BYOP. I had rolled the shade in from the e.l.f. Rosewater Quad. I rolled like an e.l.f. shade, and I ended up picking the one e.l.f. shade that didn't have pan in it, and it just happened to come from a quad that I repanned into circle pans. So here is what it was looking like when we rolled it into the project last month. There was definitely usage in it, and again, it was a repanned shade, so it was pretty shallow in the pan. But I'm so happy to say I have a humongous pan in this shade now. I ended up using this quite often, again, with the wonderful shade Pickle Juice in this palette. I would put this guy all over like the outer portion of the lid with this on the inner third inner half, and those looked so good for just a really quick work look. I hit pan on this pretty quickly, and I used it for like a week and expanded the pan pretty substantially. I have this on my inner corners today also, but I'm so happy to have 3, and they were like the 3 cool tone purple shades, and I'm so happy about it because it's the start of fall, and all I want to do is wear greens, oranges, and yellows right now, and I am so sick of wearing cool toned eyeshadows. But speaking of cool toned eyeshadow, we have one last shade to talk about, and it comes from my Natasha Denona Purple Blue palette. I was really not excited to roll this palette in, and I am now kicking myself for rolling the shade that I did roll in into this project. I'm really wishing I rolled one of the brown kind of shades into this project, but alas, we did not. We rolled a colorful shade into this project. I ended up rolling in the shade Petroleum Blue into this project, which is like a deep teal kind of shade. You'll see a clip of it go up right now. I only reached for Petroleum Blue 2 times over the course of the month, and this is what the shade is looking like today. There's a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of use in it. I know one of the looks was similar to this where I really like buffed it out on the lower lash line. I think there was another look where I had it on the outer corner, and those were the two looks that I did using this. If you were on my channel last year, I think it was last year. Might have been earlier this year. I'm pretty sure it was last year. I did the project level up with this, and I had to hit for three pans in this palette and use each shade 3 times. So I don't feel like this is like a neglected palette in my collection. I was going to keep this in, and now I have officially talked myself out of keeping this in the project right now. Definitely more of like a December, January kind of color story to me, and I just don't want to reach for this right now. I've also decided that I want to drop this project down to 4 eyeshadows in this project because, again, I'm going to be starting another eyeshadow project at the end of this month. So I can drop this project down to 4 eyeshadows, feel really, really successful in what I'm doing in this project, and still allow myself a lot of flexibility with the other things. And 2 of them are going to be Lainey's prompt style, and then 2 I want to have fully randomized. I feel like I have been really successful in my panning eyeshadow this year because I've been hand selecting the shades. But it's also been like a double-edged sword where I don't feel like I'm as creative this year with my makeup as I have been in previous years. So I think with the new way of doing this with randomly selecting 2 shades and then 2 shades I'm selecting based off of prompts, I think that I'm still setting myself up for success in this project. So without further ado, let's roll in our items. So since we have Lainey's prompt in here, why don't we just pick the other one for Lainey's prompt? I have my Tiny Decisions app up, and I'm going to just click this thing a couple times. Inner corner highlight shadow. That's exciting. I'm very excited about that. Then we're going to pop back to my Pretty Random app. Yes, it's making a comeback, the Pretty Random. I have inputted all of my Clionadh eyeshadows, which if you haven't seen, and there is a video coming this week that swatches all of these out, but I do now have my Clionadh shades in a large storage palette. Those are these guys here. So I have put all of these into a spreadsheet, as well as I have my normal wonderful storage palette that I have in that same spreadsheet because my spreadsheet has a header. I have the shades or numbers 2 to 169 in the Pretty Random app. So we are just going to select, sometimes this doesn't work when I shake it, but we'll just, so we have shade 59, and then the last second shade is going to be shade 7. And I can't actually roll in number 7 because that is a shade that already has pan in it. So not 7. So we'll just randomly select 147. Man, this project wants some 7 in some capacity. This is really nerve-wracking, and I don't know how the odds were in my favor because the shade is already in. I know you haven't seen it, but I filmed a BYOP a couple days ago. It'll be up tomorrow. The shade is in this palette. The nice thing about doing it like singles and not having to like select over a big spread of things is it keeps things a little bit more condensed because I have a lot I have a lot less singles than I do in like my grand scheme of my collection. So it kind of makes my picking a little bit more concise. I'm going to start with swatching out Prefix. So that is the shade Prefix that we have kept in this project for another month. Just a beautiful metallic brown eyeshadow. The next item we ended up rolling in was for Lainey's prompt, a inner corner highlight shade. And for that, I'm going to go with this guy here. This is from a Depotted Repanned Juvia's Place palette. This is from the Saharan 2. This is the shade Aziza, which is one of my favorite autumnal shades in my collection, and I don't give myself enough okay to use it, and I want to use it. That is Aziza. It's so pretty. It has like a little bit of orange that's not going to pick up on camera, but when I can see it, I can see a touch of like orange and like gold. It's going to be perfect for this time of year when I want to reach for more oranges and olives and khakis and just like these incredible tones. This is going to look so good with it, and I'm so excited about it. The next shade was number 59, which is actually, how funny, a Cliona shade. I know I mentioned I wanted to work on some Cliona shades in this project, and the powers that be made it be. So I have a single here by Cliona. This is from the Glitter Multichrome collection, and this is the shade Flagstone. Definitely a me kind of color. I have a lot of shimmers, so that is Flagstone there. Let me give a better swatch of this. But now it is looking beautiful. So far giving me very Natasha Denona green brown palette. I am not mad, so I'm very excited to get use out of Flagstone. Then the last prompt was a Pretties for Your Face shade. It's this guy here called Sunlit. Gorgeous, neutral, like cool-ish toned neutral. It's not quite a rose gold, not quite a bronze, but it is so pretty. Let me give you a swatch of her. A little more cool toned than Prefix near the top, but I can use them together. I could use them separate. Very neutral. I'm actually really feeling this for autumn, for September. I'm really excited. The Cliona shade is likely only going to be a 15 use item, but I'm hoping to hit pan in at least 2 of them for the next update. Let me know how you think of the new structure, the bringing it down to 4 shades. I would love to know your thoughts on this. Stay tuned for the rest of the week again for my single shadow week, where every day this week we're posting a single shadow themed video. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're staying healthy, sane, and safe. I hope you're doing really well today wherever you are, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.